There we go. All right. We are live. We are live. All right, guys. We are live on the Live Me. We are live on the YouTube. Anyone at YouTube, if you're watching this and I'm not supposed to be allowed to do this anymore, go ahead and hurry up and shut me down before people start logging in. If I'm not supposed to be allowed to do this anymore, you took my monetization away from me. So, if I'm not supposed to be doing this either, hurry up before people log in. You can just put an advertisement for YouTube TV over my face. Why don't you do that? You can do that. So, guys, we have problems logging in over on the YouTube. YouTube is demonetizing my channel left and right. They pretty much took away monetization permanently. And I'm not sure exactly what's going on. While we're waiting for Steven's here. Steven, are you here? Steven, are you here? I'm getting some feedback on your end. Yeah, that's what you sound like. Okay. Hey, Steven, can you do something about your sound? I'm getting a ton of feedback on your end. Can you hear me? All right, I think he's still getting ready and he doesn't realize we're live. So, yeah, that sounds terrible. Yeah, that does not sound good. There it is. There it is. All right, now it went away. I don't think it's the earbuds. I think it might be something else on his end. We'll see. It's gone now. Steven, can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, I don't think he can hear me. Yeah, I don't think he can hear me. All right, he's muting his mic. I guess he's getting some stuff ready. All right, so in the meantime, while he gets ready, I'll give you guys a YouTube update. So my channel was demonetized, and basically the way YouTube did it, they issued out a statement that if you didn't have a certain amount of watch time by February 20th, which was, yesterday, that they were going to just demonetize your channel permanently. Now, I was pretty certain that I was going to make the cut, right? I thought I was going to be good. But here's the thing. My channel was on hiatus pretty much all of last year and most of this year because I was just busy with other things. I mean, a lot of you guys know me from the Jimmy Dore Show. I was busy with other projects. My personal channel, I put on hiatus. So had I not put my channel on hiatus, I would have met those qualifications, no problem. But I put my channel on hiatus, so my channel was pretty much silent. A lot of people didn't even know I had my own channel. So recently, because of Get Your News On with Ron, my channel no longer became on hiatus. If that doesn't make any sense the way I just said it. My channel no longer became on hiatus. My channel was not on hiatus any longer. So I started doing my channel again because of this show. And you guys, I did Get Your News On with Ron on Live Me, the streaming app, for a long time before I moved it over to YouTube. I started Get Your News On with Ron, I want to say it's almost been a year. And but I was just doing it on Live Me. I wasn't doing it on YouTube. Finally, I kind of moved it over to dual stream. Joe's been willing to help out with the clips, which is awesome. And Joe is grossly underpaid. And so Pasta is also very underpaid. I'd like to be able to pay people more fairly. So anyway, I guess I either didn't make the qualification or something else is going on. But YouTube yesterday just permanently demonetized me. And now they're not even letting me monetize my streams. And things are going very slow, as you guys are witnessing firsthand now. But then occasionally, my monetization will come back and then go away again. I'm going to start taking screenshots so you guys know that I'm not, so you guys know I'm not making this up. But like my monetization will all of a sudden come back, then it'll go away again. They'll demonetize a stream while the stream is going on. And then all of a sudden I'll complain about it on Twitter. They'll remonetize the stream. So they'll demonetize it, then they'll remonetize it. I figured out how to live stream on Steemit now. We got to talk, DC, because I need to learn how to start using Steemit too. I have a Steemit account. I've done a little bit on it. I did not know you could stream on it. I think I'm going to start streaming on it. We got to talk, DC. We definitely got to talk. Steven, are you here? Can you hear me? Oh, I can't hear you. All right, I can't hear you. Is your mic on? Is your mic on? Is everything connected? Everything's connected. You can hear me. I can't hear you. All right. Give me a 5 count when you're ready. Everybody's excited to see you. You don't have to prove the truth, Frank says. Thanks, Frank. All right, cool. Yeah, DC, we got to talk. I got to figure out streaming on Steemit too, because I think that might be. Apparently, a lot of people are having problems with YouTube today. Yeah, I'm having a problem with YouTube today as well. I mean, we got here live on the stream, but Steven's having some issues. I'm on YouTube too. Right on. You're doing both. The fuckery has come unhinged. All right. It looks like my co-host wants in, so let's let her in. Lucy, come in. Entertain the audience while Steven figures out his issues with Skype. Or finish your breakfast. One of the two. You pick. Which one do you want to do, Lucy? Steven, are you here? Steven, we are seeing a shot of your crotch. DC says his YouTube show dropped 5 times. Kyle Kalinske and Emma are also having problems on YouTube. All right, so a bunch of people are having problems on YouTube right now. I'm not the only one. So everybody's having issues with YouTube. So guys, if this stream suddenly drops, it's a YouTube thing. And Stephen Jaffe's having some issues with the Hangouts, so that could also be a YouTube thing. We aren't able to hear him right now. So while we wait for him, let's see if there's a few articles. Let's do that. I had to freaking go out of my way to figure out how to get to this stream. Because the stream itself was like not loading and I kept having to refresh it. Finally, when I went into my manager, I was able to go to the stream. I wasn't able to try to monetize it, but I was at least able to get to the stream. So YouTube, I think it's safe to say my YouTube channel has been demonetized completely. My YouTube channel is done. Like the demonetization will go away. Yesterday was that deadline. Even though I thought I met it, apparently I didn't. You guys have been overwhelming with your support in regards to that. People have been tweeting me encouragement. People have been joining the Patreon, which means an awful lot. And thank you guys so much for your support. I'm going to keep going no matter what. So don't worry like, oh, I guess Get Your News On With Ron's going to go away. It's not. I'm going to keep going no matter what. I'll figure out how to stream on Steemit. I'll figure out how to do YouTube as well. I will figure this out. So don't worry. Do not worry about that. The only thing that's going to happen here, let's see if there's a way I can like disable the sound here. So when Pasta texts me stuff from the YouTube chat, it doesn't ding. I know there's a way you can do that, but whatever. We don't have, oh wait, here. Preferences. All right. Boom. All right, that should fix that. All right, I took the sound off. So when Pasta sends me some info, I will see it, but I won't hear it. So you guys won't hear it. All right. Let's see. Steven, are you here? Steven, are you here? Can you? All right, we can't hear you, but you can hear us. So what, you got a microphone or what's going on? All right, let's go to an article while we're waiting for Steven. Edwin, if you're here right now, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining Team Flack One. Which, by the way, guys, T-shirts are coming. T-shirts are coming. I just ordered them. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Uppity Bumpkin, we're going to go to your article because this has been on my mind. All right, guys. Trump's FCC just announced it will officially rescind net neutrality on Thursday. Ajit Pai and the FCC just made it official. The order to end net neutrality rules gets published in the Federal Register this Thursday. Density, thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, Density. Thank you very much for your super chat contribution. Once they hit print on the rules, a 60-day clock starts on the window for Congress to undo the order. Democrats, Independents, and Republicans Susan Murkowski of Maine all back a move to preserve net neutrality in the Senate. That means the Senate is only one vote shy. So the CRA, now let's do a quick review of what's going on overall with net neutrality and all the ways we can battle this. First of all, the clock for 60 days is going to start on Thursday for the Congressional Review Act, the CRA. What does that mean? That means that Congress can use their authority to overturn the FCC ruling. All right, that's what that means. Now, Congress has been working on this. They are one vote shy as of right now. They have 60 days to get that 51 vote. However, this is a long shot. Why is this a long shot? Because Trump needs to sign off on it. So even if this passes the House and the Senate, which it might have a hard time getting through the House, but even if it does pass the House and the Senate, Trump needs to sign off on it. There's a good chance he won't, because, you know, his FCC appointed this. You know, there's a good chance he won't. So, but we still have to try that, you know, like getting it in, it'll at least kind of drum up some attention. It'll at least, you know, it'll at least get some energy going. Okay, here. All right. Hold on one second, guys. I'm having some issues with Steven here, and then we'll continue things. Hold on one second. Pasta, that's not possible. Tell him that's not possible. Because I can't get back to the window. Oh wait, here it is. All right, never mind. That is possible. Never mind, I can do it. I figured out the thing. Figured out the thing. All right. Sorry about this, guys, but Steven's having some issues with the link. So we're trying to get that sorted out here. But yes, it is possible. I just sent it. Pasta, I just sent it. I thought I lost the window here, but I did not, which is good. I'm pro browser windows here on this stream. All right, so let's get back to this. We're talking about net neutrality. So here's the thing. They have 60 days to get the votes needed in the Senate, but then it's got to get to Trump's desk. So it's got to hit Trump's desk, and Trump's got to approve it. There's a good chance he won't do it, but we still need to try for the CRA because it'll still drum up interest in the public. There'll still be public pressure, et cetera, et cetera. What are the other solutions for net neutrality that we've talked about here? First of all, state laws. There's state laws in New York right now. There's state laws in Vermont. There's state laws here in California where I live. The state laws, unfortunately, are not that strong. It's still a good thing that there's state net neutrality laws. Oh, and Montana. I forgot Montana. Montana was actually the first state to pass it. Don't want to leave Montana out. So these are good things. The laws here in California are kind of fickle. We covered that here on the show. The laws are very susceptible to lawsuits from the FCC. And chances are the FCC would take the state to court to try to gut net neutrality. So this isn't foolproof protection, but it's still a good thing that the states are having state laws. It's still kind of throwing everything we got in the kitchen sink at this thing. Now, what's the longest term solution that will kind of put a knife in the heart of all this?
Hello?
Municipal broadband internet. Steven, are you there?
I am.
All right, we got you, buddy. All right. So
I know what the problem was, if you're interested.
All right. Cool. Well, welcome. So, guys, municipal broadband is going to be the long-term solution for this. I'm working on it here in Pasadena, where I live. I've been talking to my city council. They want to get it on an agenda in late March, early April. Some of you guys have been reaching out to me saying, how can I do this in my community? I've been sharing all the resources I have, as well as my personal.
I can't hear a word.
That's going to be the long-term solution for all this. But the rules go into effect as of Thursday. Come Thursday, a 60-day clock starts to get net neutrality back. We got to try the CRA. We got to try state net neutrality laws. And of course, the permanent fix for this, municipal internet. We got to do it in our own communities. The good thing is that we have the power to start that conversation in our own communities. And we're going to go to Steven now. Steven, are you here?
I am. Thank you.
All right. Okay. I think we got you, buddy. So welcome to the show. Let me go ahead and bring you in. Guys, Stephen Jaffe is with us. You know the drill for when we have guests. YouTube folks, you can see Stephen and you can hear him. Live me folks, you can't see Stephen, but you can hear him, and you get the first choice on questions. So live me folks, get your questions ready for Stephen. We got him. We had a little bit of a tech glitch, but we're with him now. Who is Stephen Jaffe? Stephen Jaffe is an attorney who is running against Nancy Pelosi in California's 12th district. We all know Nancy Pelosi needed to be gone yesterday, and Stephen Jaffe is running to hopefully get her out of here. So guys, get your questions ready for Stephen. Stephen, first of all, give us an update. What's going on in the campaign right now?
Well, we are heading to the state Democratic convention in a couple of days. We expect that to be contentious as it was last year, particularly between the ever-growing progressive membership of the party and the establishment part of the party. Our campaign is gaining really good momentum the last few weeks here and month or two, and we look forward to continuing to do that. I'm in kind of a fight with the Democratic Party over how it handled the pre-endorsement process, which I can elaborate on later if you'd like me to. It's pretty much the same kind of mindset as happened to Bernie in 2016. The absolute plain English way to say it is they're lying, cheating, and stealing.
All right. Yeah, I do want to go into that. You already got some questions here, but since you brought that up, let's get into it now. What's been going on? I mean, I've been seeing like some tweets that you've been sending out about some documents that you actually received from the party itself and in regards to the endorsement process. So please kind of unpack that for everybody. What's going on?
I will try to do the short version of this for your folks. California has this unfortunate rule, the California Democratic Party, in its bylaws, which I don't like and should not be there. But it says if an incumbent wants to run for the same office again, a Democratic incumbent, that incumbent gets the automatic endorsement of the party, regardless of what the incumbent has done, how the incumbent has performed in office, or in the cases of Mr. Mendoza right now, whether or not the incumbent is accused of sex harassment, and those investigations are still pending. The only way to prevent this automatic endorsement is for the challenger to obtain the signatures, the wet signatures, if you would, of 20% of the delegates in the voting district. And that will cause the automatic endorsement to fall. And then the incumbent has to face the regular endorsement process at the convention. So that's the setup. So I obtained what I felt was 20% of the necessary votes, turned them in. The party said, I turned them in, and after the time to turn them in had passed, the party said, well, you missed, you didn't get enough. And I, of course, said, what are you talking about? I don't think math has changed since I went to school. And they said, no, you used the wrong list. We have a secret list that we didn't give to you, and it's got more people on it, and you fall one short.
So it's similar. I mean, that's the bait and switch they do. That's similar to what happened with SB 562. Hey, here's the rules you need to follow. Okay, we followed all the rules. Oh, these weren't the rules. You fucked up. Now you're done.
Well, it's even worse than SB 562 because Rendon actually had the power to do what he did. He shouldn't have done it, but he had the power to do it.
Right. But what I mean is the nurses were told a certain set of guidelines. Yes. They followed those guidelines. And then all of a sudden they were told, oh, wait, no, these weren't the guidelines. That's what I mean when I'm saying it's the same thing.
That is correct.
They gave you a certain set of standards. You followed them.
They changed the rules. They changed the rules after the game was over and said, you thought you won, but you really didn't. We won.
Right.
And it's clear that what the party is doing has nothing to do with holding fair processes and democratic processes. They are acting solely to protect the interests of the incumbents and keep them in office.
Absolutely. And they're doing everything they can to keep progressives out of the party. That's why I just, at this point, I don't know how we can move forward without a viable third party. I just don't. I mean, the Democratic Party has made it clear who they are. They've made it clear what they want. They are bleeding members, and people are fleeing the Democratic Party in droves because they want a party that actually stands for something. The Democratic Party stands for we're not them. There is an awful fascist party in this country that openly serves the 1%, and we are not that. What are we? Pretty much nothing. We have the same donors, and we don't give a shit, but we're not them. That's what the Democratic Party stands for. So, I mean, how can we keep, do you have any confidence left in kind of infiltrating the Democrats from the inside?
Well, I have two comments on that. First of all, my dispute, and this might seem like a lawyer-like statement, but my dispute is really not with the party. My dispute is with the corrupt people running the party. And there's a difference. Whether the real issue is the party salvageable if the people running it are thrown out and honorable people with integrity are installed? And I don't know that we know the answer to that yet. I'm running as a Democrat because here in San Francisco, if I want to get elected in 2018, I have to. If I want to take out Pelosi, I have to. I guess it remains to be seen whether or not the party is hopelessly damaged by the corruption that's happening within it, or whether or not it's salvageable. But I draw a distinction between corrupt people and the corrupt party. You know, the people are not the party. The party is all of us. The party is you and me. I'm part of the party. The whole progressive wing of the Democratic Party is part of the party. So that's the question that remains to be seen.
Fair enough. I mean, I see where you're coming from. Honestly, speaking for myself, I've never considered myself a Democrat. I consider myself a progressive. And up until recently, I thought, well, the Democrats are kind of the clearer glass for me. I don't really feel that way anymore. Now I'm pretty much a policy over party guy. There are some people that are trying to infiltrate the Republicans that I would gladly cast a vote for, i.e. Sam Ronan. There's also people trying to infiltrate like you are, and I'd be happy to cast a vote for you. There's also a lot of Greens and Independents I'd be happy to cast a vote for. So for me, it's all about policy now over party, and I think we need a longer-term solution, and I don't see the Democratic establishment being part of it. I could be wrong. I'm open to the fact I'm wrong. I think we need to try everything. I support people trying. I support what the Justice Democrats are doing. I support a lot of people running as Democrats. But I mean, it's like, how many slaps in the face can we take before we say, I mean, it's like we're trying everything we can to break into this building that has the doors bolted and locked, and they're pouring molten lava on us. And we could just go build our own fucking house at this point. By the way, you're allowed to cuss here, and everybody has cussed so far except for Pat Harris, but I blame that on myself because I didn't tell him he could.
Well, I know you had Maria Strada on, and she has no problem cussing. So
yes, I didn't even tell her she could, and she did anyway. We had a fun time.
Yeah, well, the CDP did a similar thing to her, which was, did she tell you her story?
Yes. Yeah. No. So let's move on to some questions here. I mean, we could talk about corruption in the party all day, and you know, it's a pretty bleak topic. So for anyone that's not familiar with your policy, Kate wants to know, kind of give us a quick snapshot of your policy ideas. One of the things she highlighted, and I know the answer to this, but some of the viewers might not yet. What's your stance on single payer?
Well, I'm an 100% advocate for what I think is important to call Medicare for all or call single payer. The things you must not call it is universal access or universal health care, because those are two euphemisms that are used for programs which essentially keep for-profit insurance companies in the business. All right. Universal access is not universal health care. Universal health care is not single payer or Medicare for all. And it's important when I talk about this that people understand Medicare for all means there is no private insurance companies involved in the process. It is very similar to Medicare, for the Medicare that exists right now for seniors. You do business with your provider, they bill what's called CMS, Medicare, and Medicare pays them. That's the system I want for everyone. So that I'm very much in favor of that. I don't think there is truly a rational argument against it. So I hope that answers that listener's question.
Yeah. No, that's great. Also, I'll give you a few quick kind of things to expect. So we're streaming right now on 2 different platforms. We're on YouTube. We're also on a streaming app called LiveMe. So when you see me looking around and stuff, it's not because I'm not paying attention to you. It's because people are sending me questions from 2 different platforms, and I'm trying to just kind of field those questions and get them to you and package them the right way. So don't be like, Ron's looking all around. What the fuck's going on? That's what's going on. So we have some more questions here. Forever Voting Third Party wants to know, what would you do to stop America's weapon sales?
Well, all right. My policy is that the United States has become addicted to being in a perpetual state of war, and by addicted I mean culturally and economically addicted. And by economically addictive, I mean it used to be when we had to take military action, the factories would produce the weapons, and they would give the weapons to our soldiers and Air Force. And off to war they would go. Now things are completely inverted, stood on their head. We no longer make weapons in order to go to war. We go to war in order to keep making weapons. In other words, we have to constantly be in a state of war because our economy is so dependent on what Eisenhower called the military-industrial complex that we have to keep going to war in order to keep the economy going. We make so many, fucking weapons. We make so many weapons that we try to push them off on our NATO allies and press on them that they got to buy weapons. We make so many fucking weapons that we try to sell them or give them away to the police forces because we're trying to militarize the police. And so we'll say to a police force, here's an armored personnel carrier. We have too many. You take it. So my way to answer the question is I will not vote for any more $700 or $800 billion obscene budgets. Would an opponent vote? It's the first step we have to take. We have to get rubber's military budgets because or they're voting donors. That's my short answer to that.
So we're going to go out of order a bit. And hey, thanks for reaching the quota. I appreciate it, buddy. So then what's your stance on gun control? Just kind of transitioning over to that because somebody asked.
I have a rather extreme own assault rifles. I don't think there should not only be a moratorium or a ban on selling assault rifles. I think they should, the ones that are out there need to be collected and destroyed or put away. No American needs to own an assault rifle unless you're in the Army or the Marines or the military.
Okay, so we lost you for a quick second there. So just to make, I mean, I'm pretty sure like we could sum up what you said, but you said there needs to be a ban on assault rifles. No one should own it. And
no, more than just the sales. They need to, the ones out there need to be collected. They need to, we need to, yes, we need to take away assault rifles from Americans. And I know there's some people who don't like that, but the Second Amendment is a two-part sentence, not a one-part sentence. And carry weapons, and unless you're part of a well-regulated militia, your home is part of the militia, you've got some other problems. You don't need an assault weapon.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that people hate when you point that out. Be like, yeah, there's that second part to the Second Amendment, the well-regulated militia part. And to me, well-regulated militia means that there's heavy regulations on the amount of ammo one can get, on the type of weapon they can get, on they have to register it. They should have a mental health screening. They should have references that they're required to do. They should have classes. There's a lot of things I favor. It's kind of a mix between what Switzerland does and what Australia does. And there's so many, I think, common sense things we could be doing that we're just not doing. And if somebody still wants to go hunt with a reasonable weapon for hunting, they can still go out and do that. Or if they want something basic for protection in the case of an emergency, they can still have that. But we still have common sense gun policy that would hopefully curtail some of the insane amounts of gun violence we have in this country that other countries don't have. Australia, they haven't had a mass shooting since 1996. Do they still have some problems with violence? Of course they do. Everyone does. It's not. And you can still have a gun. It's not like people in Australia, like the guns are totally banned. That's not how they went about it. But there's heavy regulations and there's heavy scrutiny on who gets them, how they get them, etc. All right, cool. So let's move on because we got a lot of questions and we're already behind. Are you still with us? I was worried we might have dropped you for a bit. Are you here, Stephen?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, cool. You are here. Let's see here. All right. Would you ever support third-party candidates in debates? Stephen, are you there? Stephen, did we lose you?
Yeah.
All right. Can you hear me?
For a moment.
Are you with me?
I can in and out, Ron.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me right now? What's up, Jimmy?
Hear me?
Buddy? Are you here? Are you with us? Uh-oh. I think
I'm here.
I lost Stephen. All right, you're here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, you can hear me. We're back. Okay. Would you ever support third-party candidates in debates? Somebody wants to know your thoughts on third party. I feel like as soon as I
yes.
All right, there you are.
Yes.
Okay, cool. You would?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I think that's part of democracy.
All right, let's move on to another question. Let's see. We got a lot here. Are you still with me?
Still with you.
All right, cool. How do you plan to combat the prison complex, for-profit prisons, etc.?
Two-word answer: abolish them.
What's your stance on?
I think it is immoral to make profits out of incarcerating human beings. And for the money that's being paid to these private prisons, we could build publicly government-owned prisons and deal with it that way.
So how would you go about like how would you start that process? I mean, obviously that's not something you could do alone. But how would you start that process?
I think there would have to be. I think there would have to be either the private prisons, the physical facilities that they have. Either we need to build new ones, or we could use what's called the power of condemnation. You could condemn the existing private prisons and turn them into government-owned facilities and cancel the contracts with the companies that are running them.
Love it. All right, cool. Let's see here. Trump says, okay. Let's see.
I'm against it. If Trump says it, I'm against it.
What's your take on Russia bait and Bernie's recent comments on it?
Well, tell me what Bernie's recent comments are to make sure we're talking about the same comments.
You know, this is from Sake. So Sake, could you clarify which comments you're referring to? Because yeah, I agree that Bernie said a couple different things. So so Sake, let us know in the chat which comments specifically we're referring to. In the meantime, we'll go to a different question. Steven, would you support looking? Oh man, there's some some people are asking some questions that might get you in trouble, buddy. Would Steven support looking into the DNC rigged primary?
Oh, hell yes. I have no problem answering that. One of the things I want to do if I am elected is I'm going to introduce some legislation called the Federal Election Integrity Act, which calls for open source software, paper ballots, and federally guaranteed transparent and fair elections everywhere. And I'm also going to introduce a constitutional amendment motion to make the right to vote a constitutional right. And that will give the federal government a right to go in and make sure that voting rights, the right to vote is fairly done and elections are fairly done. I have no problem fighting election corruption any more than I have fighting or party corruption. No trouble there.
All right, and that was party corruption. I know we're getting a little bit of a lag here and there, Steven, but we're going to power through it. So Sake just followed up in the chat. He's referring to the State of the Union a couple days ago. Bernie essentially, and I have not seen this specific clip myself either, but Bernie more or less kind of supported the Dems' claims on Russiagate and kind of just like he's been doing some parroting of the Russiagate narrative. What is your take on that?
All right, here's what my take on the Russian thing. I am not in either camp of the Russia ruined and hacked and destroyed our election in 2016, nor am I in the other extreme camp, which is this is all bullshit, it never happened. I'm not in either of those camps. I have a lot of confidence, even though he's a Republican or once was a Republican. I have a lot of confidence in Mueller. He's a very bright guy, and he seems to be doing bad guys. What he comes up with, I think that something happened. I don't know what happened and what exact effect it had. So I'm kind of in between the two extreme positions, between the bullshit and oh my God, it's terrible positions. That's my best answer.
But can't you say, because like I think technically I'm in that camp too. However, I'd be a little more hardline about it because you can say, yes, there still might be something that may or may not be uncovered, as vague as that is. Because I get it, it's an in-depth investigation. However, that doesn't mean there hasn't been some bullshit that's come along with it. I would say the Russia hysteria is bullshit. You can say that that's bullshit and still be like, look, go ahead and investigate something. When we have something to talk about, let us know. In the meantime, this constant hysteria by the corporate media, this whole, these 13 Russian trolls that made these memes that weren't even in proper English half the time, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Yeah. I don't disagree with area. Should calm down and we should all wait and see what's there. I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, and my other question, and I know this isn't really directed at you. I mean, you're kind of in like the proper skeptical camp, but like, how long do they need? I mean, it's like the people that bought this hook, line, and sinker, you're basically subscribing to the idea that Donald Trump, who has the subtlety of a horse taking a shit in the middle of Manhattan, somehow has managed to stay a step ahead of every intelligence agency. Somehow he has managed to evade every intelligence agency. I find that incredibly hard to believe, regardless of who he surrounded himself with. I find that incredibly hard to believe. I don't see how anybody doesn't.
Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, he's done a very inept job of trying to cover it up, if he's trying to cover it up, because everybody around him is falling quickly. Remember, you lived through Watergate, but I did. And the way Nixon went down was one by one, all the people around him started to get arrested and go down. Haldeman, Ehrlichman, they all went down, and this circle started around Nixon. And then finally goes on for him, because Nixon was an evil guy, but he was a lot smarter than Trump. Finally, Nixon, the light bulb goes on, and he says, I better get the hell out of here before this thing falls on me. He goes to Ford, makes his deal. I'll quit if you pardon me, and he's gone. Trump's not as smart as Nixon, but I think that the wagons are circling and starting to close in on Trump. And is it moving fast enough for a lot of people? No. But is it happening? I mean, that's what I see, the parallels between the two situations.
Yeah, that's
I want Trump gone.
So, all right, let's say they find collusion, which they may. I mean, they might. But let's say they do, just for like hypothetical sake. We'll say they do, they find collusion. It's enough to bring Trump down. We get President Pence. Was all of this worth it? Keep in mind, the FBI is monitoring social media more than they ever have before. Silicon Valley is determining what is and isn't free speech. There's an attack on independent media that is literally a new Red Scare. This is a new Red Scare. This is New Age McCarthyism as an offshoot of all of this. A ton of policies are not being talked about at all because our corporate media is talking about Russia pretty much 24/7. Would all of this be worth it to say the words President Pence?
I don't know, but what I think is, if Trump is taken down by this investigation, and by the way, there's no crime called collusion. The crime would be obstruction of justice, and the crime would be perjury and lying and some other things. But if Trump is taken down in this whole mess, there will be a very strong message sent, not just to Pence and everybody else, but to the whole country and the world, that we're not just going to allow this to happen in the U.S. And if it does happen, we're going to get it out and take care of it. Is Pence worse than Trump, or the same, as bad as Trump? Maybe, but he's a different kind of bad.
Maybe.
He's there are those, I don't like his religious fervor. That's very bothersome. But it's a different, he has, I think, more respect for our institutions than Trump. Is just completely outside the whole country. I don't know where he is. He's on another planet Trump, probably. He's probably on planet Trump. And Pence has a lot more experience. He's been a governor. I think he's been a senator, and he knows how things.
Yeah, he has experience doing terrible things. I mean, it's basically like, I'd rather have a competent sociopath than an incompetent sociopath. I'd rather have an incompetent one. If we're going to have a psychopath in the White House who has these horrific policy ideas, I'd rather have it be Donald Trump, because he's having such a hard time getting stuff done, versus Mike Pence. If Trump gets impeached tomorrow, I'll tell you what I think will happen. What I think would happen, we get President Pence, who would be competent, who would be able to get stuff done easier. He wouldn't get good stuff done. He'd get horrible stuff done. The Republicans would have enough time to distance themselves from Trump. And in the midterms, because there is basically no opposition as it is, nothing would happen in the midterms. I think at least we're guaranteed some small gains, maybe even some big gains, depending on what happens between now and then. I mean, I just don't see any which way. And the people that say, oh, well, Trump's just on a, you know, the difference between Trump and any other Republican? Trump talks meaner and has no sense of subtlety. That's why the intelligence agencies don't like him. They don't like him. It's not that they dislike him because of some moral stance. They don't give a shit. They think in terms of endless war. They think in terms of defense. They don't like Trump because they're worried he's going to say something dumb they don't want the public to hear. They want someone who will continue the military-industrial complex with a smile on their face. Pence would gladly do that. Hillary Clinton would have gladly done that. Barack Obama did it. Bush the first did it. Bush the second did it. Every president in my lifetime, and probably yours too, Stephen, did it. Trump might be too dumb to do that. That's why they don't like him. So, I mean, this whole idea...
Unless Pence gets swept up in whatever happens to Trump.
Do you think that will happen?
It could. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what Mueller's up to.
Fair enough. I mean,
I don't know.
And I share your skepticism. I guess I'm just a little more weary. But
well, you're entitled to that, and there is no right or wrong answer. Neither of us knows.
I'm with you. No, totally. There is no right or wrong answer. I think that all the cyclical effects that we've seen so far are dangerous. And a lot of this is totally a red scare. And this should have been one of those things that, you know, when they have something to talk about, we should talk about it. But that has not been how this unfolded at all. As a rhetorical event, this has been handled miserably. And it's been done so for the establishment's sake. It's been done so for the corporate media to try to retain their stronghold. It's been done so for the Democrats to avoid looking in the mirror. And it's been done so just for all the wrong reasons, you know. And I, believe me, we both agree on how despicable Trump is. Trump is absolutely despicable. Absolutely. But there is not one policy he has that isn't just a normal Republican policy. The difference between him and other Republicans, he talks meaner. That's the difference. He talks meaner.
Well,
I don't think of a human.
Well, he's done a couple things lately where he's talked about literally taking away food and heat from poor people. Literally taking away food and heat, canceling the food stamp program and delivering food in boxes, which is totally impractical and can't be done.
Republicans applauded that. Republicans totally applauded that.
Well, the answer is to get rid of at least the start is to get rid of the Democratic enablers, starting with Nancy Pelosi. I mean, I don't mean to bring up my own campaign, but that's a true statement. There are people in Congress who are Democrats, and I use quotes for that, who are enablers of Trump, and they've got to go. Start at the top.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you. So, all right, so let's see here. We got some other what are your thoughts? In other countries, it is a holiday for elections. What are your thoughts on that? And use that to kind of answer more broadly. Like, what can we do about what can we do to make voting a little bit of an easier process in this country?
Well, I'm absolutely in favor of making Election Day a federal holiday. Certainly the presidentials and midterm congressional elections, which sweep in a great many local elections. I don't know that we can make every Election Day for city council or dog catcher a federal holiday, but certainly we can make election days for congressional reps, U.S. senators, and the president federal holidays. And I'm sure there's a federal holiday maybe we could combine. I know employers don't like more holidays because they have to pay for them, but I think voting is critical. We already talked about this, such a critical right and such a critical part of the exercise of democracy that I'm for that. The other part of making voting easier is the thing I talked about earlier. It's my idea for the Federal Election Integrity Act. Make it clean, make it transparent, make sure the information gets out there, put requirements on localities that they make information available to local voters.
All right, thanks, Stephen. And sorry, I'm scrolling through the questions here because I missed a few. DC wants to know, will you co-sponsor Barbara Lee's Marijuana Justice Act companion bill?
Well, I like Barbara Lee. I don't know what that bill says, but my answer is probably. I'd certainly like to see what it says. And I like Barbara Lee.
Well, then just answer it more generally. What are your thoughts on marijuana and stuff like that?
Well, as everyone knows here, California just recently legalized marijuana. So I think Barbara Lee's bill must be directed towards some kind of federal legislation. So perhaps dropping the illegality of marijuana under federal law, which I am in favor of. The situation that exists right now in California is bizarre because you've got a direct conflict between federal and state law on whether marijuana is illegal. And that's got to be resolved. It's causing all kinds of problems between federal and state law enforcement agencies. So if that's what her bill says, I think I would agree with it.
All right. So let me go to some YouTube questions here. Would you support legislation to mandate at least one debate for all primary candidates, general election candidates, and local, state, and federal elections?
Just one? Yes, of course. And to put it in the context of my election, my opponent has not debated any challenger to her since 1987. Let me say that again. My opponent has not debated any challenger since 1987. She has been in office 30 years, and I want her to debate me. And if anybody is listening here, Ms. Pelosi, or Ms. Pelosi, debate Jaffe.
I'm pretty sure Nancy's a big fan of this show.
Oh,
I'd love to have her on. I'd love to have her on.
She may not be a fan, but I can guarantee you that she's got somebody listening.
You think?
Yeah, I do.
I'd like to think I'm that important. I really would.
It's not that you're.
It's because you're here.
No, it's not that you're not important. It's to this one. She's probably got somebody listening because I'm talking. But they also keep their ear to the ground as to what's going on with the progressive movement, and you certainly are one of the flag carriers for that. So don't underestimate them. They have a lot of people.
That's very kind of you. And so to the unpaid Pelosi intern who is listening, you don't have to do this. You really don't have to do this. I know she probably talks really nice, and I know you probably think, oh, incrementalism is the way to go. Look, it's not. We've had sharp turns in the history of this country. We're due for another one. So you can quit today, and you can go join Stephen Jaffe, and you'll probably feel a lot better. I know the dinner parties are probably really cool, but you only have one life. Why not do something bold? Why not do something courageous? Why not do something that would really institute real change? You can watch video of the person you're interning for, Nancy Pelosi. She doesn't know how to say what policy she's for. She doesn't even know how to do it anymore. She knows how to do one thing, and that's fundraise money. And guess what? The Democrats are bleeding money, so she's even failing at that now. She's failing at literally everything. You're giving hours of your life and time of your youth to a complete and utter failure. Just stop. Just stop.
That is very well said. Far better than I could have said it. Thank you. That's better than
I want to help you, unpaid intern. Log off this stream. Log off. Actually, you know what? Stay on this stream. You might learn some more and be like, oh shit, yes we can. All right. All right.
And let me just add, and the money she does raise is all from corporate interests totally opposed to the principles and core values of the Democratic Party that the intern probably thinks he or she stands for.
Exactly. All right. So this is an interesting one because there's a number of ways. I don't think I'd have an easy. First of all, the Convo Couch wants to know, you play piano and drums. I play guitar poorly, admittedly, but they want to know when we're going to jam.
Bring it on.
Well, let me know next time you're in LA. We'll make it happen.
All right.
Yeah, I do a music show every so often just for fun. Like I just play covers I like, and we'll make it happen. We'll totally
I'll have to practice.
Me too, buddy. Me too. I'm sure. I mean, I know you do jazz, right? So you got better chops than me. I do punk rock, Steven. You do better chops than me.
I do all kinds of shit.
All right. Okay, so this is an interesting question. I like this one. This is from Chris. Because there's a number of ways one could approach this contemporarily. What are your thoughts on Planned Parenthood?
I don't like the fact that I just read today, I think, that Planned Parenthood is opposing 562 in California. What the fuck is up with that? I mean, the Planned Parenthood means Planned Parenthood. And sometimes there is an unplanned parenthood. And now Planned Parenthood says, we're not going to get involved with unplanning your unplanned parenthood. I don't get it.
Well, here's my take on that. And here's the thing. First of all, I'll be totally upfront. Planned Parenthood in our system now. Planned Parenthood serves an essential need. What they do is incredibly important. However, they exist the way they do because we have the healthcare system that we have. If we had a single payer system, Planned Parenthood would either need to adapt or they might not be in existence anymore. And I think they know that. And it seems like Planned Parenthood has made the choice to oppose single payer. And so that means that, I mean, don't you think? I mean, why else would they oppose it, right?
You need to explain to me how supporting 562 it would harm what Planned Parenthood does.
Because Planned Parenthood exists partially because we have such a fucked up healthcare system that people can't get the basic care that they need. I mean, most of what Planned Parenthood does is health services for women and men too, and mostly prenatal care and mostly other types of care. Basic care. That's most of what they do. I mean, keep in mind, and I know you probably know this, Stephen, but abortion is less than 3% of what Planned Parenthood does. Planned Parenthood provides an essential service, and I realize that. I've done benefits for Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood has benefited the lives of many people I know, myself included. So, I'm not anti-Planned Parenthood. However, I recognize in the long term that, yeah, a single-payer model could disrupt what Planned Parenthood does. I think they could adopt within it should they choose to, but it seems like they might choose not to. So I understand that the day could come where I'm not behind Planned Parenthood anymore because I see in the long term single payer is more important.
There's a disconnect for me. The connection between single payer or Medicare for all healthcare system and supporting the rights of a woman to control her own body, where there's a disconnect. I'm not sure how one affects the other.
Well, no, I don't think one affects the other. I think in principle, those two things are very connected. I'm talking about just the mechanisms of Planned Parenthood itself as an organization to exist. In a single payer model, a lot of the services they provide, I mean, people might be able to get that through their insurance now under a single payer model. So could they adapt? I think yes, possibly. I think they could. However, I could also see how in their business model, they would choose to oppose it instead. Why else would they oppose 562?
That's right.
This isn't.
Let me ask you this. If Planned Parenthood announced tomorrow, we've changed our mind, we're going to support 562. Rendon, get it out of the shelf wherever you put it on. If they did that, how would life change at Planned Parenthood? What would change, if anything?
Well, in the short run, nothing.
Right.
In the short run, nothing. But in the long term, Stephen, I mean, if we get a single-payer healthcare system in this country, I mean, that could make something like a Planned Parenthood kind of obsolete over time because people would be able to get the care that they get. Planned Parenthood largely exists because we have such a fucked up healthcare system that for many people, that's the only way they can get care that they need. That's the only way they can get gynecological care. That's the only way they can get prenatal care. That's the only way they can get screenings for STDs. That's the only way they can get, you know, the list goes on. And yes, abortion services.
But Planned Parenthood could then still continue to exist and still provide the same services it provides now, except that it would then be a provider for the Medicare for All system instead of being a provider for the fucked up for-profit insurance companies.
I agree with you. What I'm saying is they may or may not make that choice. We don't know what the people in the top are deciding or not deciding. And they could very easily decide, well, you know what? Single payer sounds nice, but it would really disrupt our way of doing business. And we provide essential services. We'd rather kind of make incremental changes to our healthcare system, make the ACA stronger, quote unquote, whatever that means, because there's still millions being left out in the cold. We'd rather do that than support single payer. Will they make that choice? I don't know. But I'm open to the idea that they might, which also has to make me open to the fact that I might not be behind Planned Parenthood anymore at some point. Right now, if somebody just asked point blank, yes or no, do you support Planned Parenthood? I would say yes. However, if they gave me that asterisk moment, I would say yes. But in the long run, if they're opposing single payer, I'd have to say, you know, you're opposing single payer for your own benefit, and I support single payer.
Well, you know, if somebody asks me, do you support Planned Parenthood? My answer is yes, but I do not understand its opposition to 562, and I want someone to explain that to me, because
I mean, was my explanation wrong? Like, what was? I mean,
no,
that's the way I see it. You know.
I guess the only area that I disagree with you is that I don't think it would make that much difference to Planned Parenthood if it supported 562. Maybe I'm a little more cynical than you are. I think something else is going on. I don't know. And this discussion on Planned Parenthood gets back to the real core principle of why I'm for Medicare for All and why I want to get rid of for-profit insurance companies, because I think it is obscene. And that's a word I use a lot. It is obscene for private companies to make profits on the illness of other people. I find that to be grossly obscene. And insurance companies are paying out millions of dollars to these CEOs who have equally obscene salaries, to use my favorite word again. And that has to go. Nobody should profit from the illness and helping people who are ill or sick. So we'll leave it at there. I don't think we disagree. We may be articulating our points of view a little differently.
Well, I think right now we're just speculating on decisions that we don't know how they're going to be made. What I'm saying is I can understand why they would be against single payer. I mean, I disagree with it, obviously. Like, I disagree with it. But I can see why they would go against single payer, and it disappoints me. Lady Vajay points out, if you had Medicare for All, then a woman could, that is the screen name, then a woman could just go to the OBGYN and not have to worry about copays or anything like that. And that would be the end of Planned Parenthood. That is a factor. I mean, that assessment is correct.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. If we had single payer for all and a woman found that she has gotten pregnant, then her OBGYN doctor could say, I'm sending you for your prenatal care over here to Planned Parenthood, because they have a contract with Medicare to provide prenatal services, and I want you to go there for your prenatal services. Check in with there whenever they want you, and Planned Parenthood then becomes a provider in the Medicare for All network.
I understand that, and then that is another alternative. Forever Voting Third Party says they can be absorbed into hospitals. So I don't think anybody in this conversation is right or wrong. Right now, we're just speculating on what could or couldn't happen. However, if we see opposition to single payer from Planned Parenthood, I would say we do know why.
Okay.
All right. So we got to wrap up here. We are out of time. This was a great discussion. So, Stephen, I want to turn it over to you. Give some final thoughts on your campaign and let people know where they can go to get involved. Because I think this audience, I think we're pretty much in unison here that Nancy Pelosi needs to go. I even think she has an intern that quit today. I want to have confidence that just happened during this live stream. She has an intern that quit.
You talk the intern.
Don't quit. I'm still talking to you, intern. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. You can, in fact, you know what? You can start an internship with Stephen Jaffe tomorrow. Can you verify that, Stephen?
Absolutely.
There you go. You got another position waiting for you.
Yes.
And when you have kids years from now, your children will say, "Were you on the right side of history?" And you'll look them in the eye and you'll be able to say, "Yes, I was. I thought Nancy Pelosi was the clearer glass. I thought incrementalism was the way to go and we needed to stay with the system. But then my eyes were opened. I realized that ain't happening anymore. And I moved over to Stephen Jaffe and he beat her. And we started a new, better tomorrow. And it was all thanks to that comedian, Ron Placone. And your children would say, "Who the fuck is Ron Placone?" And you'll say, "I don't know what the fuck happened to that guy. I hope he's still around somewhere, but who knows? He's probably playing some dive somewhere." But hey, you're welcome. All right, Stephen.
All right. So I guess I have a statement to the people in the 12th district and the people. Then I have another one for the people outside the 12th district. To the people in San Francisco, San Franciscans, do you want a voice in Congress? Because you don't have one now. Do you want someone to speak for everything that you want and represent, like single payer, like abolition of superdelegates, like ending the obscene military budget, like the decriminalization of mental illness and helping the people on the streets? I'm that voice. Miss Pelosi is not that voice, and she has not been for a long time. So I seek your support in being your voice in Congress. To the people outside the 12th district who can't vote for me but are listening to this, I'm going to suggest that my congressional race is the most important race in the U.S. right now. Maybe perhaps with Tim Canova's in Florida. Why is that? It's not because Stephen Jaffe is this great shining star, which he might be, but it's because of who my opponent is. If I can take down Nancy Pelosi, then we will send a message to the rest of the country that a progressive candidate who's campaigning on policy and not anything else, progressive issues, can take down anybody, anywhere. If we can take down the leader, the iconic symbol of the establishment itself, then we can take down anyone, anywhere, including where anyone else might live in the U.S. So donate, DONATE, Jaffe, Jaffe, the number 4 and the word Congress.com. And anyone wants to get in touch with me, I answer my phone, I answer my emails. Go to JaffeForCongress.com with a 4, and all the information is there.
So that's JaffeForCongress with a 4.com. That's where you can find out everything you need to know about Stephen. Stephen, thank you so much for doing this. Guys on Live Me, thank you so much for your excellent question. Everybody on YouTube, thank you so much for your excellent questions. I know we didn't get to everyone's questions. I apologize for that. I know we've had some tech issues. I apologize for that. YouTube was having some issues all over the place today. Kyle Kalinske was having some issues. Emma over at the Young Turks was having some issues. So, yeah, there's been some issues going on. Kate asked, Ron, can you talk about the status of your YouTube channel? I was talking about that a little bit earlier while Stephen was working out the Hangout on his end. I was demonetized, and I still am. They're not letting me monetize my streams. What's so weird is they'll demonetize my stream. I'll complain about it on Twitter. Then all of a sudden my stream will get monetized again. But it's all for show because it's after the stream had ended. See, I get my most traffic when the stream is going on, and that's when they demonetize me. And then all of a sudden, oh, the monetization will come back. So I think my channel has been demonetized permanently. The deadline for the numbers was February 20th. Because my channel was on hiatus for so long, I'm not sure if I met that deadline. So as of right now, I'm airing on my channel is demonetized. They're not letting me monetize my streams. I was having a hard time even starting the stream. I'm not the only person that was having issues with YouTube today. So maybe it's just an issue that's been going on for a couple days. I don't know. But right now, that's kind of what's going on. Guys, thank you so much for being part of this. thank you so much for supporting this stream. Steven, thank you so much. StevenforCongress.com, and that's with a 4, the number 4. Check it out. Learn more about him. He's primary in Pelosi, and we need somebody to get her out of office. So hopefully he'll do that. As for me, follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone. That's where you can tweet me articles or send questions when we have a guest. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. RonPlacone.com. I'm announcing more tour dates by the day. And Patreon.com/Ron Placone if you are so able. You can pay at whatever level you can. You get all kinds of great perks. Lucy wrote a new dialogue today. So for all you Team Black 1 members, get to reading that. She wrote a great dialogue. It's a really fun one. And you get all kinds of benefits on my Patreon at a pay-what-you-can model. You can give whatever level you're comfortable with. So please do check that out, especially since we're getting demonetized left and right. I love you all very much. Steven, thank you once again. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, stay safe out there.